another thing that really concerns me about the Watchtower organisation and its interpretation of who is worthy of salvation is the fact that they talk about all the children that weren't within the organisation or related to someone in that organisation would all just be wiped out. Every time I look at a child, I can't stop to think, well, how innocent that child is and how far in years they are from really determining whether they want to be a so-called good person or bad person. So I find that kind of reasoning really out of touch with the Creator. I mean, if the scriptures were written 2,000 years ago, surely even the so-called secular world has progressed in humanitarian ways that the Creator would be pleased with. For example, in the time of the Romans, I mean, okay, sure, they were world power and they had certain social things that they shared with the poor, probably, but nothing like now. I mean, the world with all its wickedness that the so-called Watchtower organisation seems to highlight time and time after again. In the time the Bible was written, they would never have had welfare organisations. They would never have had, I mean, just basic sanitations and hygiene things that every human could have access to. What the point I'm trying to make is that if even the wicked world has progressed in a way closer to their Creator in these aspects, then surely the Christian interpretation of how children should be saved during God's wrath, surely that would have progressed amongst true Christians also. I mean, surely they can come up with something better than, well, in the time of the Philistines. I mean, to me that reasoning is, I would really love it if they could clear this point up. I mean, and if anyone who's not a Jehovah's Witness, I really feel like you should demand an interpretation of why their children should be killed, whether their parents believe one way or another. Why should children be killed? I'm not trying to just highlight, I'm not just thinking about children, but I'm also thinking about when people are hungry. Time of Jesus' day, his followers said, look, the crowd are hungry, blah blah blah, you need to send them home so they can eat. Jesus actually demanded his followers, he said, will you give them something to eat? Now to me, I don't know, I just sort of think that's the same sort of reasoning with regards to children at Armageddon. I mean, why would a God of love allow these humans to be born, these children to be born? And if some of them were to be born right up to the time of the end, as the scriptures indicate, there'll be it wouldn't be clear cut when the end was. Why would he just allow them to be born and then for them to be murdered straight away? To me, that does seem such a waste. And I don't know if anyone could come up with some kind of modern interpretation, but if Jesus thought that these people could be fed by his disciples, well, why couldn't they look after the children that were going to be left after Armageddon? I don't see any difference there. And any Jehovah's Witness who goes to the door, knocks on a person's door, and you quite often hear children inside playing or whatever. I just don't know how you can keep knocking on the door, and if a child opens the door, how you can look at it and think, well, you know, firstly you're too young to actually interpret this good news, so-called good news, so you're basically just dead. I don't know how you can live with yourself by going to the door and thinking that. And you might use scriptures, well, your face is like flint and all this sort of stuff. Your faces never seem to be like flint when you get involved with business ventures with the world. you seem to have this sort of diplomacy with business. I couldn't believe how many Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm probably going on a bit of a rant here, but how many were involved in these money-making things, how many of them were trying, I don't own a house, I don't even own a car, but how many of them were striving to buy bigger and better houses and bigger cars, and I mean, like, your faces are never like flint when you go into the. I remember one brother, when he bought a brand new Range Rover, his face was never like flint when he went and bought this Range Rover with the salesman, but somehow his face is like flint when he goes to the door, knocks on the door, and tells and has this hidden agenda, or this hidden so-called light from God, which says that their children should be murdered at Armageddon. I don't understand how the governments could allow organisations like this to gain tax concessions. And the reason I was given by the Australian Tax Department was that this organisation does a measure of welfare. I mean, I'm at a loss. I mean, like, they're chasing, the Western governments are chasing these Muslims around the world, accusing them of terrorism, yet they're giving tax concessions to organisations like this, which say that God's going to murder their children. I mean, if anyone can explain these things to me, in just a clear way, I'd be happy to hear the explanation. How can an organisation that gives tax concessions and has, I mean, like, that can build all these kingdom halls everywhere, I just find personally that you're closer to God just in a field or on the beach or in nature somewhere. In fact, it's probably a more clear-cut, cleansing sort of way to get close to God. But they have millions, possibly, I don't know, in Australia definitely have millions of dollars worth of real estate, all tax-free, but have this teaching about the children Armageddon. If anyone can explain this to me, this is just one example. I'd be happy to listen to that explanation. Thank you.